Welcome back to Boom Beach Op Replays with RDT Trichon. This is Tinker Taylor. Today we're doing a full op replay of a dead end that we actually did in 10 attacks. You can see from the base list that it was a pretty nice roll. We had a bunch of people boosted from the double dip window, so we just decided to go for it. Another kind of speed run. This one was, I think, 15 minutes and 10 attacks. So we'll just hop into the bases. We got no shield gen bases this time, so that was pretty nice. First attack is going to be on Duality from Maeve. So he's running all Zukas and Battle Orders. He is a 6/4 as far as statues go, and this is a 1 mil core with 417% building health. So you would expect it to go down in one hit, basically all the time, and we'll kind of see what happens to keep that from happening. Sorry, changed it a little bit too early. Here we go. So we're coming in here, cleared the mines, good staggering. And you can see the cannons twitching, but it's basically a perfect smoke for Brick walking in to be protected by the smoke before the cannon just sits her down, knocks her out. So come in here with one smoke. We're going to spread a little bit. You'll kind of see. And it's not too bad from this side, but because the shock launcher centers on whatever it is targeting, it wipes out a lot of Zukas. Then we're slow on the shocks over here because we didn't have delay anymore, and we missed a shock on the flamethrower. So a couple of missed shocks, a 2 smoke, little parking would have prevented that peak, which would have gotten us those shocks in time, but we just missed the shock on the flamethrowers. So that's the first hit. And then we'll go ahead to finish it. This is TK Drop. This is actually an alt account of another member in 1.0, TK Catch, and this account has troop health still. It was boosted because he came from another op. Obviously there's no reason to boost troop health for these operations unless you're trying to tank boom mines with Brick, and even then you don't have to boost troop health, you just use your regular one. So come up to the same spot. So you put a short smoke here so we can get a nice double smoke going to park, so there's not going to be any peak from the sides. So we'll pop battle orders off, and then our shocks will come in. We'll see how we do. Yep, very nice, and plenty of extra shocks because, like I said, the core was only 1 million to start, so plenty of damage already done. You just needed a couple volleys, so spend any extra GBE you have, just throw in some shocks. It's a nice short walk, so you have plenty to go around. All right, let's see. Next, we'll go into Phobos. Here's Riley, one of our hoppers today. I can't remember where Riley's actually from. This Phobos is 2.4 million, so this is kind of an impressive hit. I really like doing Phobos, but Riley jumped in before I could hit on it. So basically, you clear these mines around the core and around the machine guns. Sometimes people clear a little bit of the boom mines, just one little pocket. There you go. That the Zukas are going to walk through later. But you can do 2 and it's fine. So there's a couple different ways to get back on Phobos. I'll kind of talk about them as Riley goes. So first we have anchor cells here, so our Zukas are going to group up. We don't have to spend any GBE using a flare. And we haven't deployed the hero yet because we haven't started our walk. So we're going to get a little bit of extra gunboat energy. Go ahead and deploy, get that smoke down. A little bit more, no big deal. And because we're using a hero that is fast, or faster than the Zukas at least, we have to stagger smokes, so you can't, or stagger our flares. You can't really do the long javelin flares anymore to the very back against a vertical wall in a base when you also deploy a hero. The walk timing just gets really tricky. So we'll do this little halfway flare and then up to here. When you deploy with just the Zukas, if you weren't using brick, you could hit this vertical wall from the beginning, which they'll come up to core and then stay around core, so you have to do a barrage here to clear these mines, but you don't have to worry about ones off to the side as much. And they're only level 20 mines, but there's a bunch of them. So we flare core, just 2 shocks. As you can see, really nice job getting into this window. The 2 shocks when you got to collect a little bit of GBE in the beginning and you start off with 252 lets you just shoot forever. So medkit, because that's all we have GBE left for, and why not? There we go. Really great solo here on Phobos. So next up, I think we will hop into Dioxin. There we go. Okay. So first up on Dioxin is Mandrake, which is an alt account of BVD, Baron von Donut. Like I've said before, he hops a lot, helps us out a ton. He's on basically every leaderboard. I think maybe right now he's just on the TF5 and the TF25 leaderboards. We met him initially from Valkyrie Will, so I always just say he's from Valkyrie Will, but I know he has a bunch of accounts in a lot of different places. So anyway, this Dioxin is 1.5 million. We're a little bit outside that smoke, so we'll lose a couple on the very end to the rocket. But then by the time we get here, you saw the rocket twitch, but we're out of range now. So this is the parking spot for the flare, and then we're going to go this nice diagonal walk, which actually this is a little bit off from where you want it to be, but it doesn't really matter because we have brick, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about right here. So brick is just going to face roll those mines, and since the Zukas are single file, they're going to come right behind her. No big deal. So you have a little bit more acceptable variation on where you put those flares now, because brick has so much health. So unfortunately, we're going to be a little bit late on this shock, or those 2 shocks, I guess. So we lost a couple, but overall, great hit. It was always going to be 2 hits. It's 2.4 million on pretty smoky walk and a lot of shocks, so it's different situation. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a 1.5 million. I misspoke. A little bit different situation from the Phobos, which was 2.4, but only 2 shocks. So just to kind of illustrate that base health isn't the whole story. So this was a 2-hit 1.5 million Dioxin, and we had a 1-hit 2.4 million Phobos. So next hit is from 40 Medics, which is the offensive alt account of Ryan, who is our leaderboard VP leaderboard pushing guy. But he has this offensive account in 1.0. So here we go. Basically same approach, same flare location, and then against this vertical wall. That one's a little bit lower. So there they go. That's okay. It's not that many. See, they're splitting up here. If it was a little bit higher, these girls would not have split off. It would have been just a straight line, so they're just going to get vaporized. But again, there's barely anything left on core. That's probably around, I don't know, 200,000 or something. So shocks come in, Mr. Rocket Launcher, it doesn't matter because the core is basically dead. So that's already 3 bases down, and we are 5 hits in. So looking good on the op so far. Then we're going to go into Ballast. Ballast is a pretty fun base to get. It used to be one that I actually had a lot of trouble with when I was starting off doing ops and stuff like that. I tried like 3 times in a row to do a solo on it, and I couldn't. I eventually got it, but the approach that ET is going to use here is a little bit different from how we used to do it in the old days. So it's kind of neat to see how the strategies on bases evolve. So a little smoke, drop critters here. This ballast is 1.3 million on the core, but the snipers will kill brick in about 3 sniper shots, 3 shots. So critters will help absorb all that, and we'll get a bunch of free GBE going on. So the approach that you do in general for this base is you sort of wheel around this left side and then come in from the back. We used to park up above these, hit these, and then move on to the core. That's kind of the old way of doing it, though. Now you just go straight here and shock things and hit. You know, that's kind of been a trend in op attacks in general. Is there's not as many rolling attacks. A lot of the attacks are what you could call like set piece attacks. So you just set the Zukas stationary. The only real troop movement is getting them to a spot. And once they're there, they're just parked. I personally really like the rolling attacks, or the multi-stage attacks, if you want to call them that instead. I think that they are a lot harder to do, so I'm kind of drawn to those as a fun challenge. Like parking Zukas, flaring core, shocking things. Like, it's fun and it's still difficult. I just like the other as well. So great shocks come out, really nice critter timing here. And there's not really that much more to say. You'll go around left, get a bunch of GBE, swing around, plenty of medkits. Oh, they have little red crosses. Huh. I don't know if I've ever actually noticed that before. Nice. Let's see, then we'll go into Quantum. I had the first hit on Quantum, and I should have finished it, and I didn't, so you're going to get to see a 2-hit Quantum. So I'm clearing a bunch of mines. This walk is super short. I have a ton of GBE, so I don't really care about using a barrage on those mines. All these mines are level 20 mines, but again, they're packed so tightly. Zuka can survive 1 level 20 mine, obviously, but 2 level 20 mines, nope. So I'll get them started, and then I'll send Brick. And basically, this is another, I was just talking about the set piece attacks, and this is another example of that. You just take Zukas, now augmented by Brick, put them there. This smoke was off. That's not good. It's bad smoke. It's a good double smoke landing, but my flare is too close, so I'm going to creep a little. But I just hit 1, so I get bonus points for hitting a non-max mine, and only 1 when they're packed so tightly, but I'm a little bit slow, and I missed this shock. So I don't go back to get it. I don't have the GBE for it. I just missed it. So there we go. It was right around a 1 million on the core, and I did not finish it in 1 hit, so not great, not great. So we have Matt coming in. Another, as you've seen so far, all of these attacks have been just all Zuka hits with augmented by battle orders. So he's going to clear out a ton of mines because, again, you can basically sneeze on the core here. Just going to flag land everybody. Brick is going to get killed immediately. So now it's just an all Zuka attack. Doesn't matter where you flare. He's flaring over here so he doesn't have to shock the flamethrowers, which I actually, when I was parked there, I don't think I had to. So I might have just forgotten to do that one. When I might have been too far zoomed in, so I was just seeing this area. I forgot about these. I think that's what actually happened. But anyway, here we are. We just need a couple volleys, and then the core is down. So certainly we're in position to get a couple volleys. So he didn't shock any of these either. Doesn't matter. There you go. So I kind of knew, he kind of knew going in. It's like, doesn't have to shock anything. So he spent all that extra GBE clearing those mines because that's where the hit could go wrong. The hit isn't going to go wrong because it can't put enough damage on the core. It's going to go wrong if he loses all his Zukas before they get to the core. So now we'll get into the fun base, Chimera. This is a 2.1 million Chimera. As you can see, a bunch of rocket launchers over here. And Oliver, who's probably one of our better attackers, or best attacker probably actually, in 1.0. He's going to come in and try his best Whistler impression on this Chimera. As you guys saw when I hit attack, he does, or replay, he doesn't actually finish it, but we'll kind of show all the strategy for it. And I'll speed it up because it's a long attack. So just a couple boats of Zukas are going to come over here and clear, and then everybody else. So I'll come to the flags, and then we're going to flare them up. The idea is to get a ton of gunboat energy from here, and then move over, hit the core, and have enough to do, I don't know, 7 shocks or something like that, from just looking at it quickly. Basically, this attack can be done with all Zukas, with a boat of heavies, and the rest Zukas, or with a Scorcher and the rest Zukas. People that do Chimera a lot, mostly Whistler, who is a friend of ours. He said that like when you're learning it, you should do heavy Zuka, and then once you get good at it, you should do all Zukas, and once then you'll know like what layouts you can use a Scorcher on instead. This one you can't because there's a ton of boom cannons, obviously. Great gap smoke there. Cannons are too slow to lock on and shoot, so they all just kind of spaz out like that. That brick hit a shock mine, then we get the Zukas hit the shock mine, so we lost, looks like, just about half of them. Coming into our parking spot, we already hit battle orders on brick, so it's kind of a waste of GBE for her, especially because it's going to all be gone before we get the shocks in, but there they go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 shot Chimera. It was 2.1 to start with. It's like we did a little over half. So maybe like 1.2, 1.3 million on core, which is still a good hit. And the nice thing about Chimera, the fun thing about Chimera, is that you do so much damage to the core just by clearing those power cells that it's like it's 2.1 million core, but you're doing a ton of damage because you destroyed so many things already. So here is our only non-all Zuka attack of the entire op, and it's like I was talking about, the 1 heavy 7 Zuka attack. And this is TK's other account, the one that is in 1.0. So because all of these cells are gone, we can't go left. If we go left, we're spending all this GBE getting over there and coming back over, and it's just not prudent because we can't collect that much. So it's going to be a standard straight walk back to a parking spot. These cells are kind of offset in an annoying way, so you have to make sure to approach them in a line like this. If you tried to flare up here, going through them diagonally, it's not going to work. But you see there, he just picked this row and went straight back on that row with just 2 lines of troops. Great triangle smoke here. So remember, the furthest smoke gets thrown before the base smokes. That lets the heavies come here. Everybody's locked on before the smoke fades. Go ahead and do the shocks that we need, which are just going to be those 4. Yeah, those 4. Heavies absorb the fire. Zukas get some attrition from the boom cannons, but the important things that could have hit the Zukas are already shocked, so no big deal. Nice and easy, straight walk, set piece attack. Fun part is the triangle smoke, so you have the troops moving there. But anyway, that's the 2.1 million Chimera, and that is the 10th hit. So that is the whole op. If you guys have any questions, just put them into the comment section below. And I saw the comments last time about getting some more of the big bases. I think specifically Boomtown, Rogue, and Strategize got asked for. So those videos, once we get those bases, will be coming up. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. All right.